It's the postseason in the NFL. It's playoff time. We know how great you are by what you do in games, right? You can tell how great Josh Allen is. You can tell how great Joe Montana was, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Lamar Jackson. Anytime we watch you in a game, you can show us how great you are. But when we start talking about all-time greats, now that comes down to postseason play. And that's in every sport. I don't care if you're talking about MLB, NHL, NASCAR, tennis, golf. That's college sports. When they evaluate or judge or rank college coaches and college players and college programs, it's all postseason. What do you do in March? What do you do in the college football playoffs? Ryan Day, until he won that championship at Ohio State, that national, they were saying Ryan Day has it. They were saying he had underachieved. Why? Regular season was outstanding. He hadn't won a postseason title. They look at when they talk about the late great Dean Smith and Coach K and the late great John Wooden, and when you're talking about all time, what's the first thing that comes up? What did they do in March? The NFL playoffs are here. Players are being ranked by how they perform in the postseason. We're going to talk about that and more on this episode of the Coach Cherry Show.
I fly higher than what you're thinking. Stop your thinking, open eyes, stop your blinking.
Quarterbacks, the NFL quarterback position. There have been a lot of great quarterbacks in the NFL. There's a lot of great quarterbacks right now in the NFL. Unfortunately, they're going to be judged by their postseason success. That's just what it is. I didn't make the rules. I'm not even saying I agree with the rules. They're going to be judged by postseason success. You look at, when we talk about the greatest of all time quarterbacks, there are three names that are in every conversation: Tom Brady, Joe Montana, Patrick Mahomes.
Going straight to the top, this ain't a roller coaster. A picture worth 1,000 words, I'm a frame poster. It'll go right, it'll be alright, and it's so nice. Don't talk, just be about it. Anything different, forget about it. It'll go right, it'll be alright, and it's so nice. Peak game, settle down, class in session. My first impression is so impressive.
You know why those three names come up? They have championships. There have been quarterbacks that have had just as good, if not better, regular seasons than those guys. But Tom Brady has 7 Super Bowls. Joe Montana has 4 Super Bowls. Joe Montana is 4-0 in the Super Bowl. Joe Montana has never thrown an interception in a Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes has won 3 Super Bowls. He's been to 5. That's why those 3 separate from everybody else. Super Bowls. Peyton Manning has 2. But those 3 are held in such high regard because they've won. They've won. So unfortunately, and I say unfortunately because I don't think it's all the way fair. And when you talk about winning a championship, y'all, it's a lot that goes into that. I mean, is your defense playing well? Are your coaches calling the right plays and putting people in position to win? Do you have a good running game? Are your receivers up to par? Do you have a number 1 receiver? What kind of tight end? Do you have a Hall of Fame tight end? I mean, it's a lot. Is everybody healthy? Or are you dealing with injuries going into the postseason? Did you have injuries in the regular season that affected your postseason standings? So now you have to go on the road instead of hosting a playoff. Like, it's a lot that goes into it. My goodness, it's a lot that goes into it. But unfortunately, quarterbacks are judged by how they perform. And watch this. Whether the team wins or loses, because of them, it goes on their record. I said it goes on their record. The field goal kicker, the kicker can miss the game-winning field goal. The loss goes on the quarterback's record. Somebody can miss an extra point. A coach can mismanage the clock at the end and not call a timeout. A running back can fumble. We don't know what the running back's win-loss record is. What is Saquon Barkley's record in the playoffs? Don't know. Know what Jalen Hurts' record is, though. What is Derrick Henry's record in the playoffs? Don't know. I know what Lamar Jackson's record is in the playoffs. What is James Cook's record in the playoffs? Don't know. But we know Josh Allen's. It's unfair because you're putting everything. Now, see, if you're going to do that, I don't need no mistakes. As a quarterback, if you're going to hold me responsible for wins and losses, receivers, you can't drop no passes. Running backs, you cannot fumble the ball. Offensive linemen, you cannot miss any blocks. Kickers, you cannot miss any kick. Because if you're going to hold the quarterback responsible completely for the outcome of the game, everybody else has to do their part. Josh Allen and Buffalo lost to Denver. 33-30. I said 33-30. Now, Buffalo had a good season this year. They were 12-5. This is not some team that limped into the playoffs at 9-8, 8-9. They were 12-5. That's a good regular season. I didn't say it was great or an all-time great, but that's a good regular season. They lost to Denver in the playoffs. And if you saw the post-game interview from Josh Allen, you saw that he was emotional. He was emotional. I think Josh Allen was emotional because this is year number 8 for Josh Allen. Now, he's only 29, got plenty of years left. But this is year number 8. And Buffalo has yet to advance to the Super Bowl. Now, Josh Allen has been to the AFC Championship twice. One game away. He's been there twice. But they've yet to get to a Super Bowl. I think Josh Allen was emotional because he made some mistakes. He did. He made some mistakes. He had 2 interceptions, 2 fumbles. He made some mistakes, but they were still in position to win. And just as a side note, let me detour for a second. I think that was a catch by Brandon Cooks. See, this is what I'm talking about. One play can define a legacy. One call by the official can define a legacy. Josh Allen, they're driving down the field for the potential game-winning score, touchdown or field goal. The catch puts them in field goal range. And Brandon Cooks catches the ball, but as he's coming down to the ground, the DB from Denver, McMillan, takes it out of his hands. It's ruled an interception. When I'm looking at the replay, and this should be the advantage of instant replay. Now, in game speed, that's a tough call to make for an official. That's a very tough call. That's a very tough call to make. But when I watch the replay, I see Brandon Cooks catch the ball, secure it. His right foot touches the ground. His left foot touches. Okay, that means he caught the ball. When the right foot and the left foot touches and he has the ball secured, that means he has made a catch. Now, here's the part. His knee then touches the ground. In any other situation, when your knee touches the ground, you're down. In any other situation, if a running back is running with the football and his knee touches the ground, he is ruled down. As a matter of fact, what do you think victory formation is? Quarterback takes the snap. What does he do? He takes a knee. Boom. He's saying that's it. The play is over. We're not running anything. I want the official to see my knee touch the ground. That signals the end of the play. Why is it different with a catch? Why is it any different? So every other play in football, when your knee touches, play's over. Except for when you catch the ball. That's something's not right about that. He catches it. Both feet touch the ground. I get it. That doesn't mean he's down. The play's not over. I get that. He catches it. Both feet touch. The play is not over. But then his knee touches the ground. He's down. That's it. When quarterbacks run and they slide, it can be a knee, it can be a forearm, it can be, you're down. Elbow touches, you're down. Why is this any different? That is supposed to be a catch. And because it's not ruled a catch, it is ruled an interception. It takes Buffalo loses possession, which could have led to the game-winning field goal. And Josh Allen, we're talking about legacies here. Josh Allen would then be in another AFC championship game. That adds to the resume. That builds the legacy. That builds the legacy. So you talk about legacies in postseason. What if Josh Allen never wins one? And I'm not saying he won't, but let's look at Josh Allen's career. 8 seasons. The only year he has not made the playoffs is his rookie year. The only season he didn't make it. You're a rookie. We get that. You're a rookie. But every year since then, he's been to the postseason 7 consecutive seasons. Selected in the first round of the 2018 NFL Draft. Let's see, 5 AFC East titles, 5 division titles in 8 seasons. 2018 missed the playoffs. That's his rookie season. 2019, he loses to the Houston Texans and Deshaun Watson in overtime in the wild card round. 2020, loses to Kansas City, Patrick Mahomes, in the AFC Championship. So his 3rd year, he's in the AFC Championship. 2021, he loses to Kansas City and Mahomes again. This was the classic game. This was the game when the overtime rule changed. Remember that? This was classic. He and Mahomes were having a shootout. Woo! This is the divisional round. Josh Allen and Buffalo won the wild card round. In the divisional round against Mahomes, Josh Allen drives Buffalo down for the go-ahead score with 13 seconds left. Somebody thought I said a minute and 13 seconds. No, that's not what I said. I said 13 seconds. Kansas City, in 2 plays, gets in field goal range. Now, there's nothing Josh Allen can do about that. Gets in field goal range. Watch this now. Watch this. Gets in field goal range. Kicks the field goal to send it to overtime. You say, okay, Coach Cherry, the game's going to overtime. Tell Josh Allen to do his part. I would tell Josh Allen that, except he never touched the field. Kansas City wins the toss. They get the ball first. They march right down the field and score. The ball game's over. Josh Allen never got on the field. I said he never touched the field. They lose 42-36 in overtime. And people will say, he's never been to a Super Bowl. Well, in that situation, he never got on the field. But look at how unfair that is to quarterbacks. That's in 2021. 2022, loses to Joe Burrow in Cincinnati in the divisional round. So he's getting past the wild card round every year, except for his 2nd season. 2023, he meets Mahomes in Kansas City again in the divisional round and loses again by 1 score, 27-24. 2024, guess who he meets in the playoffs again? Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City loses. He's back in the AFC Championship and loses by 3, 32-29. So he lost to Mahomes 42-36 in overtime. Lost to Mahomes in Kansas City again, 27-24. Loses to Mahomes in Kansas City again, 32-29. And then this year he loses to Denver and Bo Nix, 33-30. Well, it's a lot of field goal, 1 possession games. Wow. I hope Josh Allen eventually gets to a Super Bowl. Will it happen? I don't know. They don't have a championship defense. They don't have a number one wide receiver. Keon Coleman. I like Keon Coleman. I don't think he's a number one. I like Khalil Shakir. I don't think he's a number one. Now, they have some good tight ends. Dalton Kincaid, they have some good tight ends. Knox, they have good tight ends. And James Cook is one of the best running backs in the league. But when it comes to the passing game, there's no number one wide receiver. And if that call is ruled to catch, they're on to the AFC Championship. And now that the news has come out, unfortunately, and prayers up for Bo Nix, that he's out with a broken ankle, I'm sorry, they wouldn't have played. They would be going to New England. They'd be going to New England. Now, that would be setting up for a classic AFC Championship. Drake May in New England playing Josh Allen in Buffalo. Oh, my goodness. That would be a classic. But because of the call, they're out. And I'm not going to say it's all because of the call. Did Josh Allen make mistakes? Yes. But if that call is ruled to catch, wow. Legacies. CJ Stroud and the Houston Texans lost. They lost today to Drake May and the Patriots. 28-16. There, I saw a lot of criticism. I was reading and I was watching videos, and a lot of people are criticizing CJ Stroud. Oh, he looks bad and he hasn't developed and he hasn't improved as a. Y'all stop that, man. No, I'm serious. Stop that. Y'all stop that right now. CJ, look, when I select a quarterback, what do you want from CJ Stroud? What do you want? What do you want from CJ Stroud right now? What do you want him to do? CJ Stroud has played 3 seasons. That's it. He's not a veteran. He's not an 8 or 9 year quarterback. We talk about Josh Allen, his 8th year, Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes. Those guys are older. They're veterans. CJ Stroud just finished his 3rd season. And because they lost, and I know he didn't play well. He didn't play well. What did he have today? 5 turnovers total, I believe. But can I also say this? Drake May had 4 fumbles and an interception. And we don't mention it. You know why? Because they won the game. His team still won. So we don't mention Drake May's 4 fumbles. Lost 2 of them, and then an interception. Now, the interception was a Hail Mary. It wasn't really a big. But we don't mention that because his team won the game. CJ Stroud has only played. He's still developing and learning. What do you want? Now, in 3 seasons, he's taken Houston to the playoffs all 3 seasons. Let me say this. There's a lot of organizations that would love to have 3 consecutive years of the playoffs. There's a lot of organizations that would love to have that. 3 straight years in the postseason. Not only, watch this now, not only 3 straight years in the postseason, they've won double-digit games all 3 seasons. 10-7 his rookie year, 10-7 his sophomore year, and they got better and improved to 12-5 this year. I didn't say going to the playoffs at 8-9 or 9-8. They've won double-digit games all 3 seasons. I know some organizations I can call right now, and they say, Coach Cherry, we'd love to have that. 3 years in a row of double-digit wins, 3 years in a row of the playoffs. And watch this. Not only has he gone to the playoffs, he's 3-0 in the wild card round. CJ Stroud has not lost in the first round of the playoffs yet. 3-0. And people have an issue with that? Wow. I could see if CJ Stroud had been quarterback in 7 or 8 years and they still can't get past the division round. Okay, that's different. That's a different conversation. But you selected him to be your franchise quarterback, and some people have an issue with, man, all he's done is win double-digit games every year and go to the playoffs every year and win in the first round every year. But gosh, he ain't got out the second round yet. And it's been 3 whole seasons. Calm down. Calm down. Everybody, I'm talking about everybody. calm down. Let me say this also, and I'm not talking about CJ Stroud. Everybody's not going to win a Super Bowl, y'all. Okay. Everyone's not going to win a championship. Charles Barkley and Patrick Ewing are still trying to win a championship. Everybody's not going to win one. John Stockton and Karl Malone never won a championship. John Stockton, now you're talking about the NBA's all-time assist and steals leader. Karl Malone, the number at the time, was the number 2 scorer in NBA history. He's number 3 now since LeBron has passed Kareem. Those two played together, and they didn't win. I said they didn't win. Clyde Drexler, if Clyde Drexler doesn't go to Houston, he doesn't win. There are a lot of great players. Chris Paul hasn't won a championship, but they've had great career. What if Anthony Edwards doesn't win one? I'm not saying he's not, but what if he doesn't? You're going to say he wasn't a great player? You can have a great career and not win that thing. Dan Marino is still trying to win a Super Bowl. And he's an all-time great. Fran Tarkenton didn't win. Jim Kelly went to 4 Super Bowls. He didn't win. Dan Fouts, Warren Moon, Randall Cunningham. These guys had great careers and they didn't win. Are their careers disappointing? No. Josh Allen, we just talked about him. Lamar Jackson, they're still trying to get to a Super Bowl. But they have had MVPs. They've had great careers. But this is what I was saying at the beginning. Unfortunately, for the quarterback position, if those guys don't win a Super Bowl, and let me also say this, at the very least, if they don't at least get to a Super Bowl, in a lot of people's eyes, they will be viewed as underachieving. They will. Ain't nobody going to take into consideration coaching. Nobody's going to take into consideration the level of defense, whether you've had a number 1 receiver. They're not going a Hall of Fame offensive line. They're not going to care about none of that. You didn't get your team there. And I think that's unfair. I think it's unfair. Now, if you can get your team there, then I'm also make this point. If you can get your team there, despite not having that stuff, you're an all-time great. But everybody's not going to be that. Some people are just going to be great players and have great careers. Everybody's not going to be on Mount Rushmore. It's only 4 spots. Everybody's not going to be on Mount Rushmore. So what if Josh Allen just has a great career? What if Lamar Jackson, because when you look at the AFC, I said Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes. I know he's out right now, but he ain't going nowhere. He's only like 30. He's still young. And the way quarterbacks are playing today, they're playing into their 40s. So these guys have at least another 9 or 10 years. You got to look at the young group. Bo Nix led Denver to the number 1 seed in the AFC Championship. Drake May, you got these Justin Herbert, CJ Stroud is in that group. These guys aren't going anywhere, y'all. And I just said the AFC. Somebody's not going to win. I'm just being honest. Somebody's not going to win, y'all. No, somebody's not going to win. It's not enough for everybody. Somebody's not going to win. That's just the bottom line. Are you saying CJ Stroud is never going to win a Super Bowl? That's not what I said. What I am saying is somebody's not going to win. That's just what it is. That's the reality of sports. But what I'm saying is you have a quarterback in 3 seasons that's taking you to 3 playoffs and it's 3-0 in the first round. Now you might want to hold on to that. Don't chase something better when you already have the best. Okay. It's the offseason for the Carolina Panthers. It is the offseason. And I've been talking about the Panthers offseason with several people. What do the Panthers need? Gosh, I'm watching the playoffs today, and I'm like, man, I wanted to see. Carolina would have been at Chicago. I think they could have beat Chicago. I think the Panthers could have beat the Chicago Bears. I do. I really believe that. And I'm watching, and I'm like, man, I would love to see my Panthers out there. Let's go. Speaking of Panthers, and we just finished talking about CJ Stroud. After that playoff game today, Texans and Patriots, you started seeing all over social media, who's better, Stroud or Bryce Young? Because they were in the same draft together, and Bryce Young was selected number 1 overall. Bryce Young is better. CJ Stroud. Like, you start to see the comparisons. And people said they would always be compared to each other because it was a big debate of who should be the number 1 pick, Stroud or Young. Well, the Panthers offseason is, first of all, let me say this about the Panthers offseason. They're in the offseason now. Coach Ejiro Evero has interviewed with the Las Vegas Raiders for their head coaching position. See, some of y'all disagreed with me. When I said the man can coach, some of y'all disagreed. Some of y'all said, Coach Cherry, no, he can't. We want somebody else. Well, you may get somebody else because the Las Vegas Raiders are viewing him as a head coaching candidate. So somebody thinks the man can coach. Some people say, well, that's just the Rooney rule. You got to interview minority candidates. Okay, well, let's say it is. Why is he getting a second interview? You don't have to give him that. He does the first interview with the Raiders. It's virtual. The Raiders are so impressed, bring him in person. You don't think that's impressive? You go from the 32nd ranked defense in points per game, giving up points, to 15th. You go from last place, historically bad, to the top half of the NFL. That is extremely impressive. Now, yeah, I mean, we may disagree with some of the calls he makes, but again, he's a young coach that's learning. He was a defensive coordinator for 1 year with the Denver Broncos and then came to Carolina in 2023. He's only been doing this for 3 or 4 years. He's still learning. And can I also say this? If you give him some more pieces, see, when they were 32nd, Derek Brown was out. J.C. Horn was in and out the lineup. This year, when they bumped up to 15th, and you just added Derek Jones and J.C. Horn. That got them from 32nd to 15th in points per game. Now, yes, Derek Brown is one of the best interior defensive linemen in the NFL. We know that. He should have been a Pro Bowler. J.C. Horn is one of the best corners in the NFL. So the 2 pieces that were added are 2 of the best in the league. But again, now, that's only 2 out of 11. If he went from 32nd to 15th by just the addition of 2 players, what if you give him a linebacker? I like Christian Roseboom. I am a fan of Christian Roseboom. I think he did an excellent job this year. I think Roseboom played up to his highest ability level. I do. What if you give him a free safety? I like the effort of Nick Scott. But I do think that position could be upgraded. Imagine if he had another linebacker and another defensive back. He's already gone from 32nd to 15th. What happens then? You give him 2 more players. And you're trying to tell me the man can't coach? His play, that may make him more aggressive with his play calling. And you might say, well, coach, he's got Mike Jackson. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. Because if you're going to bring up Mike Jackson, you got to give Coach Evero credit for developing Mike Jackson. Mike Jackson did nothing before he got to Carolina. Nothing. So it wasn't like Carolina brought in this Pro Bowl corner. When we got Mike Jackson, I didn't hear anyone say, oh, we're set now on the corners. We got Mike Jackson to go with J.C. Horn. Nobody knew who Mike Jackson was. Mike Jackson was in New England, and they let him go. Mike Jackson was in Seattle, and they let him go. So when we get Mike Jackson, it's not like we found our corner. Coach Evero, he is flourishing under Coach Evero. He's played for 2 other defensive coordinators and didn't show this. So don't tell me what he's got, Mike. That's give credit to Coach Vero then. If you give him 2 more pieces, if you give him an edge rusher, I like Princely Umeon-Mielen. I like Nick Scorton. Pat Jones was hurt. What if Pat Jones doesn't get hurt? Coach, you give Coach Vero another 2 years. You got now, but hey, look, the Raiders may hire him as their head coach. So we may not have him. So we may be looking for a defensive coordinator. Who do you want? Raheem Morris? Might be a good pickup. We need a playmaker. Somebody that can make plays. Somebody that can catch the ball and go the distance. Somebody you can turn around and hand it off to and go the distance. We need a playmaker to take pressure off of Bryce Young and Dave Canales. So they don't have to have these 9 and 10 play drives every time they touch the field. That is tough sledding. Boy, that's tough sledding. We need an edge rusher. I don't care what the defensive scheme is. I really don't care what the defensive scheme is. Who is somebody that you can set on the edge and they can consistently beat their man? Who is that guy? It can be an interior. Just get pressure on the quarterback. Whether it's a 3-4, 4-3, whatever it's going to be. There are some guys, I tell you what, call up Myles Garrett. Call Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett, he'll tell you, I don't care if we're in a 3-4 or 4-3. I'm going to beat my man and get to the quarterback. That's how good I am. Coach, you can put me in whatever scheme you want to put me in. Whoever is in front of me trying to block me, I'm going to beat them and I'm going to get to the quarterback. Who is our guy that can consistently beat the man in front of them and get to the quarterback? Where's that guy? Where is he? Another wide receiver. I don't know if I'm sold on Jalen Coker as the number 2. He might be. I need to see a larger sample size. Because to me, a number 2 receiver has the potential to be a number 1 for at least a few weeks. If you're a number 2 wide receiver, Isaac Bruce, Torrey Holt. If you're a number 2 wide receiver, if your number 1 goes down, doesn't have to be a serious injury. What if T-Mac is out 2 weeks with an ankle injury? Is Jalen Coker, for just those 2 weeks, is he capable of being a number 1 receiver? Is he capable of getting open against a number 1 corner? Uh-oh. I'm just saying. I don't think I've seen that from Jalen Coker. Can he beat your best corner consistently? Maybe he can, but I want to bring in because XL, Xavier Legette, looks like he still needs more development. So I don't want to go into next season relying on Legette. I don't want to do that. Bring another receiver in. I talked about bringing another safety. And the running back position is tricky because people have been asking me, Coach Cherry, would you re-sign Rico Dowdle? I want to re-sign Rico Dowdle because he's good. I want to re-sign him because he's had back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons. He's good. But you might have 3 number 1 running backs, and I don't know if that works. Rico Dowdle has shown he's a number 1 running back. Chuba Hubbard has shown he can be a number 1. He's had a 1,000-yard season. And then if Jonathan Brooks is all the way healthy next year, that's a number 1 back. So, and you still got ETN, who ETN hasn't shown me he can be a feature back yet. I haven't seen that, and he's not a kick returner either. I don't know what. If you sign Rico Dowdle, you got to do something with ETN. You got to move ETN. You have to, and I know he's only had 1 season, but you got to move on from ETN. Because if you got Dowdle, Brooks, and Hubbard, I don't know how you keep all those guys happy. Because they all are feature backs, and they want to be treated like number 1 backs. None of them want to be splitting carries, not one of them. Gosh. I mean, the easy solution is to let Rico go. But here's the thing, though. You don't know if Brooks is going to be – Brooks hasn't shown you yet that he can get through a season. I hope he can because he looks explosive. He may be the home run hitter that I'm looking for. But he just hasn't shown he can get through a season yet. He got hurt in college, and he got hurt in his rookie season. Now, he may not have another injury the rest of his career. You don't know. And Bryce Young is clearly showing you he's the guy. Part of me wants to get a good backup in, but I don't want to get a backup that's too good and affects Bryce Young's development. I don't want to get a backup that's too good to where if Bryce Young has any struggles, you're tempted to put that backup in. I want an upgrade from Andy Dalton, but not too much of an upgrade from Andy Dalton, if that makes sense. I know that's what people say now, if that makes sense. Bryce Young, as of today, we're headed to the conference championship, the AFC and NFC championship. The wild card round is over. The divisional round is over. As of right now, Bryce Young has the number 2 QBR in the postseason. Did you hear what I just said? I said Bryce Young has the number 2 QBR in this postseason. And some of you try to tell me that Bryce Young wasn't a quarterback. Some of you try to tell me he wasn't a starter. Some of you try to tell me he wasn't that good. Okay. Number 2 QBR this postseason. You take that for what it's worth. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hope you guys enjoyed Martin Luther King Day tomorrow, celebrating a great leader, someone who accomplished a lot in the history of our nation and in the history of this world. It is Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Celebrate, educate people on who Martin Luther King was, the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Coach Cherry Show. Until next time, signing off, this is Coach Cherry. God bless you.
All the networking, the moving, shaking. But I said, wait, I'm God's creation. I'ma be me, forget the fake. Let it breathe. Now I got a wife, a couple of kids. Yeah. Life's real blessed.